Ryan Harper was the kind of person who noticed when someone needed help. A mechanic by trade, he spent his days fixing cars at a small garage on the edge of town. His hands were often stained with grease, but his heart was as clean and honest as they came. Ryan didn't have much. His apartment was modest, his wardrobe simple, but he believed in doing what was right, no matter how small the act. One sunny afternoon, after finishing a long shift at work, Ryan decided to unwind at the local park. It was one of his favorite spots, a quiet place where he could sit under a tree and watch the world go by. Children laughed as they played on swings, couples strolled hand in hand along the paths, and the gentle rustle of leaves provided a soothing soundtrack. But then, something caught his attention, a commotion near the playground. A group of older kids had cornered a young girl, no older than 8, teasing her and knocking her books out of her hands. The girl, visibly frightened, tried to pick them up, but the bullies kicked them away, laughing cruelly. Ryan felt a surge of anger and concern. He couldn't just sit there and do nothing. Standing up, he walked over to the scene, his presence immediately drawing the bullies' attention. "Hey!" he said firmly, his voice calm but commanding. "Leave her alone." The bullies hesitated, surprised by the unexpected intervention. Seeing Ryan's determined expression, they muttered insults under their breath and scattered, leaving the girl behind. Ryan knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. The girl nodded, though tears still streamed down her cheeks. She introduced herself as Lily and quietly mentioned that her driver would be coming soon to pick her up. Ryan stayed with her until the car arrived, ensuring she was safely handed over. What Ryan didn't know yet was that this seemingly ordinary act of kindness would lead to an extraordinary encounter, one that would change his life forever. As Ryan watched the car drive away with Lily safely inside, he felt a small sense of relief. He hadn't done anything extraordinary, just what anyone should do. But it still mattered. Shrugging off the incident, he returned to his spot under the tree, finishing the sandwich he'd brought for lunch. By the time he left the park, the encounter was already fading from his mind. What Ryan didn't realize was that Lily wasn't just any child. She was Lily Grant, the daughter of Alexander Grant, one of the wealthiest and most influential men in the city. Known for his sharp business acumen and generous philanthropy, Alexander had built an empire from scratch, earning respect and admiration along the way. But beneath his composed exterior lay a fiercely protective father who would do anything for his family. When Lily got home, she couldn't stop talking about the man who had saved her. "Dad, there was this really nice man at the park," she said excitedly, recounting the story. "He scared the bullies away and made sure I was okay." Alexander listened intently, his brow furrowing slightly. While he was relieved his daughter was safe, he couldn't shake the curiosity growing inside him. Who was this stranger who had stepped in to protect Lily? And why had he gone out of his way to help? Determined to find out, Alexander instructed his assistant to track down the man. It didn't take long for them to identify Ryan Harper. Through discreet inquiries, Alexander learned about Ryan's modest lifestyle. He worked long hours as a mechanic, lived in a rented apartment, and spent his free time studying to improve his skills. Despite his humble circumstances, Ryan was described by those who knew him as kind, hardworking, and trustworthy. Impressed by what he heard, Alexander decided to reach out personally. He invited Ryan to meet him at his downtown office, framing the invitation as a simple gesture of gratitude. When Ryan received the call, he was surprised, and more than a little intimidated. Why would someone like Alexander Grant want to meet him? Still, curiosity got the better of him, and he agreed to go. The day of the meeting, Ryan arrived at Alexander's sleek high-rise building, feeling out of place among the polished surroundings. The receptionist greeted him warmly and escorted him to Alexander's office. As Ryan entered, he saw a tall, distinguished man standing by the window, gazing out over the city skyline. "Mr. Harper," Alexander said, turning to face him with a warm smile. "Thank you for coming." Ryan shook his hand nervously. No problem. But honestly, I'm not sure why I'm here." Alexander chuckled softly. "I wanted to thank you for protecting my daughter." She told me everything. You didn't have to step in, but you did. That says a lot about your character. Ryan shifted uncomfortably and used to such praise. It wasn't a big deal. I just couldn't stand by and let those kids bully her. To Ryan's surprise, Alexander seemed genuinely moved. Not everyone would have done what you did. In fact, most wouldn't. That's why I wanted to meet you, to say thank you, and to see if there's anything I can do to repay you. Ryan blinked, caught off guard. Repay me? No, that's not necessary. Like I said, I just did what anyone else would have done. But Alexander wasn't convinced. There was something about Ryan, his humility, his quiet strength, that reminded him of himself when he was younger. This was a man worth investing in, someone whose values aligned with his own. Little did Ryan know, this meeting would mark the beginning of a life-changing journey. One that would test his resolve, challenge his beliefs, and ultimately lead him to discover his true potential. Alexander gestured for Ryan to sit, his demeanor calm but curious. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Harper, he began, leaning back in his chair. What do you do when you're not rescuing children from bullies? Ryan hesitated, unsure how much to share. Well, I work at a garage, fixing cars mostly. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. And what about your dreams? Alexander pressed gently. Surely there's something more you want to achieve. Ryan looked down at his hands, calloused from years of hard work. He wasn't used to talking about himself, let alone his aspirations. But something about Alexander's genuine interest made him open up. I've always wanted to start my own business, he admitted quietly. A place where people can get affordable repairs and training programs for kids who need skills. Something that gives back to the community. But, well, it's just a dream right now. Alexander nodded thoughtfully, his mind already racing with possibilities. Why just a dream? Why not make it a reality? Ryan laughed nervously. Easier said than done. I don't have the money or connections to pull something like that off. What if I told you those obstacles didn't have to stop you? Alexander replied, his tone serious yet encouraging. I believe in rewarding people who deserve it, not because they ask, but because they've earned it. And based on what I've seen and heard, you're someone worth investing in. Ryan stared at him, stunned. Investing? You mean, like a loan? Not exactly, Alexander clarified. Think of it as an opportunity, an investment in someone who has proven they have integrity and ambition. I'd like to fund your education or provide seed money for your business idea. Whatever you need to turn that dream into reality. For a moment, Ryan couldn't speak. The offer felt surreal, almost too good to be true. Mr. Grant, I don't know what to say. That's incredibly generous, but I'm not sure I should accept. Feels like charity. It's not charity, Alexander insisted firmly. It's recognition of your character and potential. People like you are rare, Ryan. You stepped in to help my daughter without expecting anything in return. Now, I want to give you the chance to help others on a larger scale. Ryan sat silently, weighing the decision. On one hand, he didn't want to owe anyone anything. On the other, he knew this could be the break he needed, not just for himself, but for the community he cared so deeply about. Finally, he spoke. If I accept, it won't be for me. It'll be for the people I can help once I'm in a position to do so. Alexander smiled, pleased with the response. That's all I needed to hear. Over the next few weeks, Alexander helped Ryan enroll in a prestigious entrepreneurship program. He also connected Ryan with mentors and advisors who could guide him through the process of starting his business. At first, Ryan struggled to adjust to the new environment. He felt out of place among students who came from privileged backgrounds and had access to resources he'd never dreamed of. But Ryan refused to let self-doubt hold him back. He worked tirelessly, balancing his studies with part-time shifts at the garage. Slowly but surely, he began to prove himself, not just to others but to himself. His professors admired his dedication, and his peers respected his humility and willingness to collaborate. Meanwhile, Alexander kept tabs on Ryan's progress, occasionally inviting him to dinner or events at his home. During these visits, Lily would often join them, eager to chat with the man who had saved her. She idolized Ryan, seeing him as a real-life hero. For Ryan, these interactions reinforced his belief in the importance of kindness and giving back. As months turned into years, Ryan's confidence grew. He started envisioning his future business, a repair shop combined with a training center where young people could learn valuable trade skills. With Alexander's support, he secured funding and began laying the groundwork for the project. Looking back, Ryan realized this journey wasn't just about achieving his dreams. It was about proving that acts of kindness, no matter how small, could create ripples far beyond what anyone might expect. Little did Ryan know, the impact of his actions would extend even further, inspiring both Alexander and Lily to see the world, and their roles in it, in a new light. With Alexander's support, Ryan threw himself into building his dream. The entrepreneurship program pushed him to his limits. Long nights studying business plans, presenting pitches, and networking with industry leaders became part of his daily routine. But Ryan didn't mind the hard work. Every challenge was a step closer to creating something meaningful. At first, doubts lingered in the back of his mind. He worried he wasn't smart enough or polished enough to succeed in such an elite environment. Some of his classmates came from families where success seemed almost guaranteed. They wore expensive suits and spoke confidently about mergers and acquisitions. Ryan, still wearing grease-stained boots some days, often felt out of place. But instead of letting insecurity hold him back, Ryan leaned into what made him different. He shared stories about growing up working class, learning mechanics from his uncle, and seeing firsthand how lack of opportunity could trap people in cycles of poverty. His professors and peers began to see the value in his perspective, a fresh approach rooted in empathy and practicality. Meanwhile, Alexander continued mentoring Ryan, offering advice and encouragement whenever needed. Their bond deepened as they discovered shared values: integrity, hard work, and a desire to leave the world better than they found it. During one meeting, Alexander said, "You remind me of myself when I started out, except you've got something I didn't: humility." Ryan chuckled nervously. "I'm just trying to do right by everyone who's helped me get here. And that's why you'll succeed," Alexander replied firmly. "People trust you because you're genuine. Don't ever lose that." As Ryan progressed through the program, he earned respect not only for his ideas but also for his character. He mentored younger students, helping them navigate challenges similar to those he'd faced. He volunteered at community centers, teaching basic car repair skills to underprivileged youth. These experiences reinforced his vision for his business, a place that combined affordable services with job training programs. After graduating, Ryan officially launched his company, Harper Auto Center. The grand opening drew a crowd, including Alexander, Lily, and many others who had supported Ryan along the way. Standing behind the podium, Ryan addressed the audience with heartfelt gratitude. "I wouldn't be here today without the kindness of strangers," he said, his voice steady despite his nerves. "One act of generosity set off a chain reaction that changed my life, and now I hope to pay it forward." The center quickly became a hub of activity. Customers appreciated the fair prices and quality work, while young apprentices thrived under Ryan's patient guidance. Many trainees went on to secure stable jobs, breaking free from circumstances that once felt impossible to escape. Alexander watched with pride as Ryan fulfilled his potential. Inspired by Ryan's success, he expanded his philanthropic efforts, focusing on empowering everyday heroes like Ryan. Together, they organized workshops and fundraisers aimed at helping overlooked communities access education and employment opportunities. Lily, now a teenager, remained close to Ryan, often visiting the center to lend a hand. She admired how he turned adversity into achievement, crediting him with teaching her the importance of standing up for others. "You saved me that day in the park," she told him once, "but you've saved so many more since then." Ryan smiled, shaking his head modestly. "We all save each other, Lily. That's how the world works." Over time, Ryan's story spread throughout the city, inspiring countless people to believe in the power of perseverance and kindness. What started as a single act of courage, the day he protected Lily, had grown into a movement fueled by compassion and determination. Little did Ryan know, the ripple effects of his journey would continue spreading far beyond what he could imagine, proving that even the smallest acts of bravery can spark monumental change. Years passed, and Ryan's business flourished. The Harper Auto Center became a cornerstone of the community, providing affordable repairs and equipping young people with valuable skills. Many of Ryan's former apprentices went on to start their own businesses, creating a ripple effect of opportunity and growth. Ryan's partnership with Alexander grew stronger over time. Together, they launched initiatives aimed at supporting other aspiring entrepreneurs from disadvantaged backgrounds. They established scholarships, hosted mentorship programs, and funded projects designed to uplift struggling neighborhoods. Through these efforts, Ryan and Alexander proved that collaboration between individuals from different walks of life could lead to extraordinary impact. Lily, now in her early 20s, followed in her father's footsteps, dedicating herself to charitable work. She often credited Ryan for shaping her worldview, reminding her that kindness and courage go hand in hand. Inspired by his example, she founded an organization focused on anti-bullying campaigns, ensuring no child felt as scared or alone as she had that day in the park. For Alexander, meeting Ryan had been transformative. It reminded him that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars but in the lives touched and improved. He began prioritizing investments in people like Ryan, ordinary individuals doing extraordinary things, not because they asked but because they deserved recognition and support. As Ryan stood outside his thriving center one sunny afternoon, watching apprentices tinker with engines and customers chat happily, he reflected on how far he'd come. That chance encounter in the park, the moment he chose to step in and protect Lily, had set off a chain reaction he never could have predicted. What started as a simple act of kindness had grown into something much larger, a legacy of compassion, resilience, and empowerment. Ryan realized that while he had received help along the way, the real reward was in giving back, creating opportunities for others to succeed and thrive. One day, as Alexander visited the center, he clapped Ryan on the shoulder with a proud smile. "You've done incredible things, Ryan. I knew you would." Ryan shook his head humbly. "We've done them together. None of this would have happened without your belief in me." Alexander chuckled softly. "Belief only goes so far. It's what you did with it that matters." In the end, their story was about more than gratitude or generosity. It was about the power of human connection. A billionaire and a mechanic, brought together by fate, had created something neither could have achieved alone. Their partnership proved that greatness isn't defined by status or wealth but by the willingness to lift others up. And as Ryan looked around at the bustling center, filled with laughter, learning, and hope, he knew one thing for certain. Kindness always finds its way back, often in ways bigger and brighter than anyone could imagine. Years later, Ryan stood outside his thriving business, watching young apprentices learn skills that would change their lives. The center buzzed with energy, engines humming, laughter echoing, and dreams taking shape. It was everything he had hoped for and more. Reflecting on his journey, Ryan realized how much had changed since that day in the park. What started as a small act of kindness, a decision to protect a frightened little girl, had grown into something far greater. He thought about Alexander, whose belief in him had opened doors he never imagined possible. And he thought about Lily, now a confident woman making her own impact on the world. For Alexander, meeting Ryan had been a reminder of what truly mattered. Wealth and success meant little without purpose and connection. Together, they had created a legacy, not of riches, but of compassion and opportunity. As Ryan locked up the shop one evening, he paused to watch the sunset. The sky glowed orange and pink, casting a warm light over the neighborhood. In that moment, he felt immense gratitude for the people who had helped him, for the lives he'd touched, and for the simple truth that even the smallest acts of courage could spark monumental change. Ryan smiled to himself, knowing the ripple effects of kindness would continue spreading long after he was gone. Sometimes all it takes is one brave moment, one choice to stand up for what's right, to inspire a lifetime of transformation. For Ryan, Alexander, and Lily, that moment had been the beginning of something extraordinary. And so, their story served as a reminder. No matter who you are or where you come from, Your actions can leave a lasting mark on the world. Kindness, humility, and determination have the power to change lives, including your own.